The bottom side targets we spoke of from last night's thread worked out like a charm. There are some interesting signals that I'd like to go over with you because they are representing a short-term pullback followed by an upside continuation. I need your opinion because this thesis includes targets that can push options in the money. Welcome back to the channel on this Thunder Thursday. This is ARCa and let's dive into ticker symbol FNGR. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Let's go ahead and dive into ticker symbol FNGR. We are observing here the hourly time frame, and this is actually one of the reasons we were able to tell what the bottom side target would be, right? So one of the lower targets was around 614, being the bottom side of the linear regression bands, right? So that came out to be pretty nice. It actually stopped out at around what was it? The low of 620. So our focus targets came out to be pretty dead on. So upon that bottom side, we actually made a really interesting recovery to the upside. I mean, aside from the fact that, yes, the linear regression bands here are used institutionally, and they are used often to long and or short, depending on the position of your price action versus the trend lines of the linear regression bands, right? So in this case, yeah, technically speaking, we reached the bottom side. Of course, long is going to happen, except that I wasn't expecting the long to go all the way up here. Now, we did, during the live stream, find out what that top side target was going to be way before it did happen, thanks to YouTube member and ARCa Bull. That is actually Bob, right? Thanks so much for pointing that 4-minute time frame, inverse head and shoulders, right? So that actually gave us the top side target. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here. But seeing that we did close, okay, we got that test of the resistance up here, right, at 673. Now, you can see that price action started on a downtrend here. So closing this hourly time frame candle beneath this trend line here would introduce a continuation to the downside. Now, that's just a thesis for now. We're going to go ahead and back this as we move along through this video, right? So if this were to suggest a continuation to the downside, then there are a couple things that are rhyming pretty nicely. First of all, we have VWAP on the hourly time frame landing at about $6 and about $6.50, and the regression line right over here landing at about 647. And please remember these targets because these are going to rhyme a lot. Okay, now our discretionary support range is right up here. I'm going to highlight it. There we go. 643 to 617, right? So with a focus of 623. Remember that this is that very same support that we've been using for, I mean, days now, right? So now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here and take a look at what happened, right? So another reason we were able to validate the bottom side being at around 617 to 623 was based on the volatility bands here, which is AKA your Bollinger Bands, right? So in this case, we reverted all the way back down to this area here, and using this topside target from this day here on Monday, October 16th, we were able to notice that FNGR was moving on average a multiplier of 3 from the mean. So this is how we were able to identify that top side, and now we were able to identify the bottom side using that multiplier of 3. It would be multiplier of 3 standard deviations away from the mean itself, right? In the mean right here located at 651. So that would be the bottom side target, which is why we were able to kind of point that out down there. That is another reason why we bounced, technically speaking, right? So now I wouldn't put the biggest trust in if you are a holder of this particular script. It's a personal script of mine, and I'm still working on the sell and buy strategies behind this, right? But they work sometimes, but not all the time, right? So please, I mean, it's like any other indicator, right? But it's not publicly released, and if you do have it, please remember to kind of take this with a grain of salt for now as I adjust the parameters for the buy and sell conditions. Okay, team. So let's go ahead and now move. Sorry, right? The mean located at 651, right? And we were already talking about reversion back to the VWAP located at 650. And or the linear regression mid-band here, that would be at around 648, 647. Okay, so this rhymes with that too. Now the bottom side here is actually coming down to, of course, the area of about 615. And let's continue on the analysis here and find out what else we have. Okay, so this was the inverted head and shoulders that Bob was so kind enough to ask me. He said, ARCa, check the 4-minute time frame. Is that an inverse head and shoulders that I'm noticing? And I said, definitely so, right? So we have a little bit of a crooked neckline here. We're going to go ahead and take that measurement. You take a trend line, right? As soon as you identify what that neckline is, take a trend line from the top side of it all the way to the bottom side to where the lower part of the head is. Then you apply it to the supposed area of breakout, which would be the center of the right-hand shoulder. That gave us a target of 671. And check it out. We faced a top side today of 673. So pretty much, what, 97, 98% accuracy here. That was not bad. Not bad at all. So I definitely am very... I am very thankful that we definitely have community members that are interacting daily for our daily trades. So I wanted to point out here one thing that would introduce a downside continuation. So just like we did with that inverse head and shoulders down there, I want to go ahead and point at here that this is actually a head and shoulders formation. So this would be the bearish side of things, right? So this would be, you would have your shoulder here, head, and your shoulder. Of course, this is going to be your regression line, right? The neckline. We take a trend line from this top side here, and we apply it all the way down to the neckline, right? And then we apply it to the center of the right-hand shoulder, just like we did inversely. All right, so arguably speaking, that could be it right there. And the target that we're being faced with is, guess what? 646, right? So that's already rhyming with the 651 of the regression to the mean, or the reversion to the mean, sorry. And then we have VWAP landing at 650. And the linear regression bands landing at 647, 648, right? So all of those things are kind of rhyming pretty nicely here. And I do think that there is a possibility here that we can actually reach those downside targets. But now we have to validate that downside target, right? There has to be more to the game here in order for us to determine what that downside could be. Okay, so first of all, I want to go ahead and point this out to you. The SMA 100 on the 10-minute time frame, okay? SMA 100 and the SMA 50 are very much, they're literally touching each other here, right? So, but where are they touching each other? Right at, look at the target there, 652. Man, oh man. Okay, and now I don't usually use the linear regression bands in a very short-term time frame. They have a lesser hit rate there, but it's still, you know, sometimes it does work. And notice where the linear regression bands are located on the 10-minute time frame. In this case here, landing at 652. Giving us yet again, moving averages, linear regression bands, volatility, mean reversion, what is it? Psychology, with the psychological because of the head and shoulders. That's a psychological component. And then, what else can we use? I mean, okay, let's use geometrics, right? Screw it. Let's do that. Let's take the this. I mean, it's going to be kind of large here, right? So, I mean, we can take, arguably speaking, we can take just the closing range, which would be that market close, right? So being the 661 to the top side of 673 in an inverse manner, right? So let's do that to see if we have any rhyming with our geometrics, right? So, in fact, we do. Check it out. The one spot 618 landing at 654. Okay, so man, so now what I'm being told here is actually 654 to maybe I would say 43. That is rhyming a lot, and 643 because of a lot of things. First of all, we had a critical resistance here at 644. That's matching with the two spot 618 at 642. Right, so there's a lot of rhyming here, team, and usually when you get things like that, when you get a lot of rhyming targets like that, chances are is that you're probably going to hit it. 10-minute time frame, very bearish RSI down here, right? Please take a look at this. It is creating, it has crossed beneath that SMA 14, very bearish. It's entering the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile. This would get pulled to the downside. And yeah, well, look at this. We're getting some more sell pressure here on the MACD. And yeah, and we're at contraction, right? So it's very little volatility at this point, but it's all good. I think it's this is probably representing a lot of contraction because of the after hours activity. Okay, team. So let's let's continue moving through the analysis here because we want to make sure that we can get through this the right way. So please remember, team, that I am still offering about eight seats left, I think, of the ARC. I have to make an official count, right, of the ArcMastersCourse. And that's something that I just put out about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, right? And now there were 30 seats available, so now I only have about 8 left. Okay, so definitely go ahead and get in contact with me at ArcMastersCourse@gmail.com, and I shall pass you the syllabus, disclaimer, the whole detail behind this, right? So definitely reach out to me there if you are interested in getting on to this 16-week mentorship program. Okay, team. So now let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so yes, we do have a pretty tight target at around that 650, the 650 level, right? Yesterday we talked about resistance located right at 654, right? So that's already rhyming to something that we were presently looking at. I wouldn't discount the fact that we can touch again to 638 to 623. Okay, I wouldn't discount that just because, you know, things can happen, right? We already know the bottom side supports. We have literally 615 to 638 as a critical support, and we have used it 1, 2, 3 times, and all of those times big bounces, right? And yeah, even here, right? We broke upside of it. We came back down, failed it. We came right back up, and then we tested it and then bounced to the upside, right? And here too, right? We came all the way back up, and then we tested this range here again, and then bam, massive bounce to the upside, right? So, and inversely speaking too, we have a resistance grab here, huge resistance drop, right? So I just want to point this out to you, right? Because this is a pretty critical target for us to keep in mind, right? So here, yet again, right over here, right? We're resisting. We finally break upside of it, right? We test it. We come back down and test it like crazy, and then we just bounce all the way up there, right? So it is a very, I want to say, I don't know if you want to call it sought after or whatever, but it's, I mean, look at this resistance here and then huge fall, right? So definitely a target for us to keep in mind, right? This one here. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue on the analysis and see what else we have. Okay, let's get into, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this. Can I do anything? Well, I guess, do I want to share that with you right now? It's just a basic triangle. I mean, the regression. I mean, yeah, these are the targets that I would be looking at for an upside, right? So the reason why I was saying earlier that we could be in line for a top side target of maybe pushing options into the money are for actually this right over. Actually, hold on, let me see. I want to go ahead and point this out to you because I do believe I have a 691 somewhere for us, and that would be super interesting. Actually, it's this right here. So it would be the linear regression, right? Now, also this thing too. Let me see. No, yeah. I'm sorry. It would be the volatility bands, right? So, yeah, coming back down to the area, I would really like to. I mean, it would be highly favorable for us to bounce from the 647 to 653 mark, aka the 651 from the volatility bands, and that would essentially take us to the upside here, right? So if we bounce from there, being the fact that we broke outside, right? We broke out from that mean band, and we never really came back to test it. So this could be that shot, right? We could, in the hourly time frame. So this could be the shot to where we come back, test that mid band, and then bounce to the upside here. That would take us to a target of about $6.88, and we have the official resistance located right over here, and that would be $6.90. You know, of course, using the volatility bands as the primary target provider, right? So we have 690 to 696. So this would now be very interesting because we would push the options contracts in the money. Now, if they do expire in the money and you didn't do anything with your options contract would automatically exercise, meaning that it would take your cash that you have inside of your brokerage and it would pay for the 100 shares of the one contract that you own, right? If you own multiple, then that's you to make the math. But if you bought a $5 strike, right? A $5 strike or a $6 strike. And then this thing just continued all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And then it reached $7, right? And it penetrated $7 and it closed outside of $7. If you do nothing with that options contract, your broker will take those shares out of the options contract, which will cost you $5 times 100 shares because of the 100 shares that are within the contract, the options contract, and then you would have bought 100 shares at $5 each. So you must have settled cash and ready inside of your brokerage in case that happens, or else you would just, maybe just sell the options contract before that happens. Please remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just giving you some little tricks to the trade here that can benefit you in the event where something like that happens, right? So this is very difficult to determine whether the price action will go up or down, seeing that, first of all, you're increasing the supply, right? So you're going to increase the supply of the underlying, which would be FNGR, right? But those are also shares that are potentially naked or synthetic or don't exist, right? So, I have to say things like this. I have to say, you guys, allegedly, right? So, and supposedly. So, just to protect me, right? But we all know what. So anyway, yeah, the supposed or alleged shares could be naked inside of these option contracts, right? So you would essentially buy these shares that would need to be paid for in the lit market at the current price. So meaning that if this thing is trading at $7.50, you have $5 strikes, they are forced to find those shares at $7.50 to give you that difference. So you're going to pocket that 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you would pocket the $2 difference times 100 shares for just one contract. And and then they would have to locate that for however many contracts you have. So some people I know that have like 100 contracts, 200 contracts, or some crazy number like that. So you're looking at 2,000 shares right there, and you pocketed $2 each share. So I mean, it can get kind of crazy here, right, team? So there is the possibility to where we can find a run up on the stock price, maybe in the after hours or leading into. I mean, more than likely it would be the after hours, right? But the following day too, except that it's very difficult to predict or even forecast this, right? Because this is entirely outside of my realm and definitely something that doesn't happen often. Exercising contracts is really, I haven't ever done it myself, right? But I know that it exists and it is out there, okay, team? So you know the resistances, you know the supports, you know the thesis and the idea and the speculation. Let's go ahead and just practice it and see what we can do leading into tomorrow's session. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold literally any type of asset, share, security, whatever, forever, right? I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good rest of your night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.